What is up, everybody? Today I'll be reacting to, so far I've already seen the first two videos of, the Daredevil breakdown by New Rockstar, but the thing is I want to start reacting to things, without watching them first, so that's what I'm gonna do, okay? So, hold on, let's see if I can make the screen bigger. Yeah, there you go. There, now you guys can see me way better. That's perfect. Okay, we're gonna move this a little bit, okay? Perfect. You ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, here with Jessica Clements, and this is a breakdown of Daredevil Season 1, Episode 3, Rabbit in a Snowstorm, in our Daredevil rewatch series, The Road to Born Again. Jess, are you ready for this?
Yes. Oh my god. This is my way of doing Daredevil. If anyone sees me do this, it's not because I'm doing a Mantis thing, I'm doing a Daredevil thing.
Green with the green fingernails, very Mantis.
Wait, hold on.
Yes. You guys, Mantis thing, I'm doing a Daredevil thing.
Green with the green.
Okay, I know it doesn't matter, okay? Doesn't matter, okay? But he does have this kind of gay vibe, you know what I mean? But if you look on his left ring finger, he has a ring, and the left ring finger is where you put a wedding ring. I don't know what country he's in. I don't know what state in the United States he's in, but in some states, you're legally allowed to marry another man. A man can marry a man. I'm not sure if that's true. I don't know if the person he's making the video with is his wife. You never know, okay? But that's something maybe I'll Google later. Anyways, yeah. Let's continue. This is a 20-minute video.
Fingernails, very
It'll be a very long reaction.
Yes. You guys, Jerica is back at it this week, and we meet the big man himself, Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. And if you come as the king,
sorry.
You best not miss.
If you've watched Netflix's Daredevil series, you remember this episode because something horrible happens at the end of it. It's completely gruesome. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. But either way, I'll be giving no spoilers as to what it is, so stick around until the very end when you gotta see it and we're gonna talk about it. So let's just jump into episode 3 right now. After last episode's awesome action-packed hallway fight scene, this week gives the fighting just a little rest and instead focuses more on the law, playing out kind of like an episode of Law and Order. It's very cool that this show can live in two worlds, both an action and an illegal drama.
Yes,
kind of how Matt himself.
I actually really insane. Dude, it's perfect. The fact that it's a legal drama and Daredevil, because first of all, Daredevil is so fucking sick, man. He's not blind, right? Obviously, the cane is just to show if he can walk around and fight with a mask. He doesn't need to see. He doesn't need to see. Now, the thing is he's in a courtroom. He's a lawyer. Oh, it's insane. But apparently he can talk to a jury perfectly. You'll see. Hold on. I wonder. I don't know if they'll mention it, but
moves between two identities. We open at Whitestone Bowling Alley. The color white plays a big role in this episode, and in the first shot of the ball return feels it's straight out of the Big Lebowski. This entire scene feels like a really horrific Big Lebowski. The first person we see in this episode is mobster Prohaska, who owns the taxis in Hell's Kitchen. If you remember in the first episode, it's mentioned by Anatoly and Vladimir to Wesley that Fisk promised to handle him. Spoilers, he's gonna get handled real soon.
Oh, yes, he is. Prohaska bowls a game while his two bodyguards stand by. Now,
oh, shit. All right. I don't know if they're gonna mention this, okay? But I remember watching episode 3, okay? And I remember seeing the murder. Matt and Matt and Foggy, they worked the case, right? But when you see he hides the gun, we see Wesley, James Wesley, I think his name is. We see him come to the bowling alley after. You should definitely go watch Daredevil. It's on Disney Plus, and yeah, go watch it on Disney Plus. Although it is MA, so depending on how your profile is set up, you might not be able to watch it. And with Disney Plus, for some reason, they have it labeled right. R is under MA. I mean, I don't know how that works, but anyways, continue.
Does not go his way as John Healy butts in asking to play, and he doesn't take kindly to being told it's a private game, and Healy kicks the bodyguard's booties. Healy is inspired by the comics character of Alvin Healy, who goes by the moniker Oddball, and dude is scrappy as hell for a little guy. He pulls a gun on Prohaska, and we flash back to 36 hours earlier.
That little 36 hours earlier just feels like it came straight out of a Tarantino movie.
Yeah, between the Coen brothers and Tarantino, there's one thing that this early episodes of Daredevil always do. They always bring in these appropriate stylistic influences. That just shows there's a lot of cinema craftsmanship going into this. So Turk now opens this box of guns, which reads, firearms contained in German. Look, I know I look like I'm someone who just can speak German all the time, but I don't. I have to look this up. I promise I have to look this up. Now, Turk is a little worse for wear after his last run-in with the Man in Black, but that didn't stop him from selling these crappy guns to everybody. 11 of them are already gone, and Healy tells Turk that he prefers a good revolver because they don't jam up. And as Turk assures him this won't jam, we get Chekhov's jamming gun, and it does exactly that. To be fair, Turk did just say,
"This baby will not jam, but my name ain't Turk Bear."
In the comics, he goes by several aliases, so this tracks. Sometimes his name is not.
No, stop. Crying out loud. Skip.
Turk Barrett. And this gives Prohaska a chance to smack Healy with that bowling ball and says, "This is how he negotiates, huh?" Referring back to how Wesley said they were going to be negotiating in the
Okay, how is so many people good fighters? Like, I don't understand that. There are so many good fighters and I don't understand it.
Episode 1. Now, yeah, we know what that meant. Prohaska gets taken out with the very bowling ball he was bowling with just moments before, and as the cops arrive, Healy hides his gun under a pinball machine with a sick-ass red 70s Barracuda on the side of it, and immediately asks for a lawyer. That's how every episode of Daredevil Born Again should begin. Just someone doing something horrible and asking for a lawyer.
Yes. I also only knew this was a Barracuda because for some reason in a lot of the Marvel Cinematic movies, they choose a 70s Barracuda, a red one. I don't know why. It's happened like 2 other times, but they love those 70s Barracudas. We're only 3.5 minutes into this episode, and one of the biggest takeaways is the sound design. If you haven't yet, please rewatch this episode. Listen to the first 3 minutes of this episode because they wanted to make sure every sound was crisp, insistent, and pulsating. When the bowling ball comes out of the ball return, it sounds like a car in a tunnel. The low sounds of an empty bowling alley, the woman spraying the shoes, the light music, the pins crashing, even the crunching of the man's spine when Healy flips him is so tumultuous. If you close your eyes...
That is most likely because that's how Daredevil sees. And it's Daredevil series. They probably would want to, I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
Every cut could make sense. And I think this is done to alert your hearing. Daredevil heavily relies on his hearing, so we're really feeling those sounds. Like, feeling those sounds. It's like in your chest. It's like how we saw him fight in the dark all the time. It gives that same depth to the episodes that aren't only in the storyline, but in the finished physical products. I eat this stuff up, you guys. I took sound design in college. Then we get back to the best intro that I've ever seen, which I'll never stop talking about.
We must pay the toll every time we watch one of these episodes and watch all the way through these title cards and just gush on this gushing. Because it's the best gushing that you've ever seen. So Matt is now doing some deep thinking outside the church until Father Lantom, still probably thinking about how Matt said he was about to do some bad stuff in the confessional. Father sits down next to him and tries to bribe him with an espresso if he just talked to him about the previously stated bad stuff. Aha, nice try, priest. You're not gonna trick me. It also says behind them, Holy Eucharist, Sundays, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., which the body and blood of Jesus Christ is truly present on the altar as bread and wine. Like, I know this is a church, but that's set up perfectly between them. Why is that? Because he's Catholic, and if you don't confess your sins, you're not supposed to take the Eucharist until you've confessed your sins and done your penance. That's the rule of Catholics. We got rules. You gotta follow them. So, Matt, have you truly done your penance? Until you do, you can't go get Jesus. So we were introduced to Ben Urich, played perfectly by Vonnie Curtis Hall. Such a great character. Can we get him to play Ben Urich and Born Again and just pretend like that whole little oopsie this season won't happen? Anyway, in the comics, he's a reporter who works for the Daily Bugle, the same newspaper as Peter Parker, which has changed the New York Bulletin for this show. Urich meets up with Silvio, an old-school Italian mobster who reminisces about the good old days.
Me and the boys.
Okay, hold on. I love the Bulletin way more than the Bugle.
Kings of the castle.
Oh my god.
Kings don't have bodies in the trunk. I like to Macbeth.
Yes, Macbeth. Referring, of course, to Macbeth murdering Duncan and ascending the throne, but also...
I like the Bulletin way better than the Bugle. Just... Like, the boss is way nicer. Like, oh, what's his name? Jameson. Jameson is so cheap, and it affects all the workplace. Like, and I like how it's not just focused on the pictures. I love the story, man. The story is amazing. The story is a juice. Obviously, the pictures is like an extra. It helps. But, like, it's uneven. Like, for example, you won't get a good... Okay. Very nice pictures could make the story more appealing, right? But a good story is not gonna, like, make the pictures more appealing, you know what I mean? But I just reverse kind of like the point. But the story is better. Yeah. Oh, I had the weirdest dream. Okay. Anyways, so, I forgot what I was doing. What I was gonna say. The bulletin is just way better, okay? The pictures, like, anyways. I find journaling kind of cool, and, like, I watched the whole Daredevil series now. It's, like, really good. The bulletin is just better than the Bugle. Even though it might be the same thing, I like it better. The problem is that we see the dailybugle.net in Spider-Man No Way Home and Far From Home, at the end of Far From Home, and, like, the post-credit or whatever. So, I don't know. Let's continue. Bob.
So, there's at least one other king who his body's in his trunk. We're gonna meet him at the end of this episode. Silvio is Silvio Manfredi.
Spoiler
In
alert.
the past episode, we saw the Manfredi crime family and Agent Carter, and it's the Manfredi crime family that Peter Parker disrupts in that deleted sequence at the beginning of Far From Home that I still consider to be MCU canon. Silvio tells Yorick that some new player in town is killing off the competition, and he's getting out of Dodge. Silvio and Yorick both represent the old guard. There used to be rules. Fisk represents the new guard, which follows no rules, and is way more brutal, and it needs to be dealt with in a new way, with Matt's similarly brutal style. Criminals used to play by certain rules, and Yorick used to expose those crimes in the free press, but as we're about to see in the court case against Healy, when the deck is stacked in the criminal's favor, sometimes the only way to make things right is to fight fire with fire in a world on fire.
Oh, in a world on fire. In the Nelson and Murdoch office, Foggy comes in, still hungover from the night before, which means this episode is happening directly after the events of the last one, which is crazy because, again, Matt was messed up. The fact that he's even walking around today is just a miracle upon itself. Also, how badass is Karen that she's in the office looking fresh and not distinctly hungover? Look at her. Beautiful. You can even still see the imprint from the prison bed sheets are still on her neck. So she's having a hell of a week. And really, Foggy needs to stop complaining because of the three of them, he's been living it on Easy Street, 110%.
Oh, okay. I was about to say she's living the hardest. Fuck that.
Man.
Okay. Yes. Foggy is like hold on. For you know what? It doesn't matter, okay? Because my screen is right here. It's like right there. The camera's right here. See, look. I could use the webcam on my computer for the cam, but this one's way better, so it's an actual camera. I would show you in the mirror behind me, but I'll try, but what can I, like... Hold on. I wonder if I'm allowed to zoom in with this. Can you see it? Oh. Damn, it's like reverse. Yeah, you can kind of see the camera. You see that little black thing? Hold on. If I have a white sheet... Oh, crap. I think I maxed out the zoom. Hold on. Yeah, I did the max. It's connected to the computer, see? Like, it's connected to the computer, so, like, I can't really, like, I can't get the camera in shot, like, because it's literally the lens. It's impossible. Anyways, let's just flip this up. Oh. Okay. This would be good, okay. Alright, oh, fuck! You all good? Oh, man. No, there's a glitch in it. Fuck that. Oh, no, fuck. Now it looks all weird. God damn it. What a waste of time. That's unfortunate. Anyways, we're gonna do our best, okay?
He uses a jaunty knock that feels evil, despite him probably hoping it had the opposite
Damn it,
effect.
that's
Behind him is the
damn it.
door with Atlas Investments logo, which is a shout out to Atlas Comics, which eventually evolved into Marvel Comics.
Aha.
Wesley comes to the office to hire the guys, and he really makes good use of his college degree using this sense right here.
I represent a consortium with diversified interests in the private sector, both domestic and international.
Yeah, calm down. Don't be
All right.
stupid. It's not the SATs.
I don't have time to
You're
talk. I wish
just
that all my
being
talk
an
freaking
asshole.
fucking
So
camera.
Wesley wants to hire Nelson and Murdoch on retainer to represent Healy in all his bowling ball bashing glory for a lot of money, and Matt is understandably a little wary. Now, this is good TV. We are playing Daredevil chess. This back and forth is so entertaining. It sets up how big of a figure Wilson Fisk is, but also leaves room for speculation. Why did he dive so deep into their backgrounds? How does he know about Karen's charges? How does he know about the intel Foggy gets from his cop friend? Wesley's leaving no room for error, but completely digging himself a big hole. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that Wesley and his employer are dirty, crooked people. So that is why Matt follows Wesley outside and tracks him by the ticking of his Cartier watch. And even through a freaking jackhammer, construction, and just general city noise going on as well, he's able to hear it all. A similar Cartier watch goes for $6,800. This excess stands in direct comparison to Nelson and Murdoch being broke and Ben Urich struggling with his wife's medical bills. Crime pays, kids. And as Wesley gets into the car, we see the first glimpse of Fisk. It's very Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget right here. It's just his hand, just his cufflink, which will come into play in a big way down the line. And specifically, through the cufflinks is how the MCU reintroduced Daredevil in that episode of Hawkeye. This guy speaks through his cufflinks. So Matt is bleeding through his shirt as once again his job and his vigilantism collide. But he makes it into the precinct to meet Healy, just as Foggy decides he doesn't want anything to do with him. But Matt is desperate to find out who Wesley works for, so he takes the case. And we're gonna get to see some good old-fashioned lawyer in this episode.
Chunk, chunk. In Ben Urich's office, he argues on the phone with his insurance, and in the background, we see a framed article with the headline to the Battle of New York in reference to the Avengers, and another that reads Harlem Terror, referencing the events at the end of the 2008 Incredible Hulk. Daredevil does not care about they're like, we'll put in every Easter egg. We want you guys to know. Ben argues with his editor, Mitchell Ellison, played by Joffrey Cantor, about the kind of content that they should be publishing.
There used to be a time when the people in this building wrote the hell out of the news.
Everybody we know is making
Oh
twice
my
what
god, the
we
screen
are,
recording might stop at
writing
3
for
minutes.
blogs, working from home in their underwear.
So to fix that.
And again, we get that old versus new, the sense that Ben is being replaced by a more brutal world and with no room for the pleasantries and rules of the past.
Spring is here, finally! And now that it's nice out, nobody wants to spend all day in the kitchen. Save some time with Factor.
Okay,
Their
yes.
fresh, never frozen meals are ready in
Oh,
just
no.
2 minutes.
Fuck.
So all you got
Okay,
to go
let's
meal
skip.
kit, and yes, I use both of them to skip the chopping. Factor now off plan whenever you really complement your protein. Wag up, it's just good. Keep the link below. Factor 75.
And welcome back to this U.S. Open office party.
Ah!
Miller just lobbed a message way over Jones's
Skip,
head using some
No.
Matt gets visibly uncomfortable at the mention of church, no doubt thinking back to his most recent confession and his earlier rebuff of Father Lantom's desire to speak with him some more. Which is interesting. Is he losing faith in himself or just religion? Values versus belief. It's a lot.
Interesting, yes. And Healy wants to go directly on trial when he's indicted because, as we'll see, he knows that he'll win no matter what, and he also refuses to tell Matt anything about the man footing his legal bills.
As for the man who hired you, all you need to know is his check's gonna clear.
Wesley goes to retrieve the gun from the Whitestone bowling alley, and this guy knows his arcade etiquette.
Well, I said that at the beginning of the video.
And back
which
at
is
Nelson and Murdoch, we
really
go over the
great.
materials at hand, as a lawyer does. The pros. 1. The bowling alley girl working during the murder was in the back office until the killing
4
was
minutes.
done and didn't really
This
see
is
anything go
coming
down.
out.
2. Healy has defensive wounds. 3. The men who survived, the goons, refused to talk. Nelson and Murdoch are ready to go straight to court. We jump to the lawyer for the company formerly known as Union Allied, who tries to pay Karen off for, framing her for murder and trying to have her killed, strong-arming her into signing an NDA and taking 6 months of salary to put it all behind her. And here's where Karen has to deal with her own moral compass. Will she take the deal, or will she continue to try and be a hero? We know what happens to heroes in Hell's Kitchen. They get beat up.
They get a bowling ball? Oh, well, that guy was a villain. That guy was still a criminal. That guy was still a criminal. The guy that got bowling balled. But there are innocent people that keep dying.
Don't be a hero.
Or
be
you're
right
gonna end
back.
up at Metro. Now, he's not really asking whether it's right or wrong. He's just doing it, which could be why he's avoiding confessing to Father Lantom in the first place. He's just doing it without thinking about it. Once the Wi-Fi comes back on, we're looking at Foggy's page on the New York Penal Law Code, specifically the use of physical force in defense of a person. It's the longest, most boring looking document I've ever seen in my entire life, and this is exactly why I'm not a lawyer. I could not read that full thing.
So we're at the courthouse with the shakiest camera footage I've ever
Alright.
seen. That's That Steadicam and the New
Being a
York
lawyer?
winds have zero chill.
Yeah.
Foggy gives his opening statement, and Matt starts listening to the heartbeats in the courtroom. Sorry, Foggy, you're boring. But this...
God damn.
But this case is all kinds of funky, so he knows how to play both sides, a vigilante
Powers
and a
give
lawyer.
him
That's when we
advantage
see one
in
juror,
being lawyers.
very nervous, with a very fast heartbeat, and she is the mole. Get her! Later that evening, the blackmailed juror meets with one of Fisk's lackeys, who reassures her that she doesn't want whatever's on a tape of her when she was 19 to get out. She's clearly at a loss and having a hard time coping with the fact that she's doing
Matt
something
Murdock
supremely
becomes a
illegal.
president.
But again,
He
when
doesn't have to
morality
feel
is
guilty.
put to
He
play,
knows
she chooses
exactly
to
when
save
somebody is
herself,
lying.
which is what I would do
Here,
too. So
he
clearly
knows
no
when
shame
somebody's
there,
lying, okay?
other than, you know, helping Jeffrey Epstein. But thank God,
Later on,
Daredevil comes out of
they'll
nowhere
probably
and he
mention
starts
it.
beating this man up. He tells him to get
Okay, if
rid
you
of the
guys already
footage.
seen-
He says he
okay,
can't,
fuck
and this
that.
man reveals that he doesn't really know his employer. He just does the job. And Daredevil
Skip.
does the job too. He forces the man to
Give
get
about
the juror
10 seconds.
excused, and
Give
like
about
that,
20
it
seconds,
works.
okay?
She's
Because I'm about
excused.
to
Also
say,
want to note that
when I
this
say
man in the
start,
window just
it's
watched
20
homeboy get his
seconds.
ass
You don't wanna
kicked
be
by a
at
man in a
home.
mask and did
You didn't finish
absolutely
season two,
nothing.
okay?
He's literally standing there in the dark in a window.
Start, okay.
Just
So,
watching this all happen.
They mentioned Electra.
Then we get the
and
icing
one
on
of
the cake, the whole
breakdowns.
enchilada,
If
the
you know
whole
who
reason
Electra
we're doing
is,
what we're doing in the
she
show.
was able to lie
I've
to
been
Matt Murdock
preoccupied
when she said
lately
she
with
needed a lawyer.
questions of
She said she
morality.
needed. I'm trying to talk louder.
Sometimes the
louder
delineation
okay?
between
I'm
the two
really
is a
sorry,
sharp
okay?
line.
She said she needed a lawyer, but she
Sometimes
didn't
it's a
actually
blur.
need a lawyer. She said I lied
And
later
often
on in the
it's like
episode,
pornography.
which means Matt
You just
Murdock
know
did
when
not
you
tell
see
she
it.
was lying. She lied to Matt
Morality.
Murdock.
It comes down to morality.
Amazing,
We're
right?
wrapping this episode up in a bow of morality, bringing Karen, the juror, Foggy, Matt, and even Ben's morality to the forefront of this
Also,
episode.
when
So
she-
Matt lays it out. The jurors
she
are
said,
important.
on
Their judgment is
vacation.
important. And let it be known, his client is
wasn't.
pretty freaking guilty. So it's up to them to decide now.
We cut to Leland and Wesley in a car speaking, and truthfully, right here, this is when I noticed it. Though he's a very scummy person, Leland is a really great villain. He thinks in a very logical, although
He's in
horrible
the
way. He's
Lincoln Lord
extremely
movie.
transparent
I
and
noticed that.
quick,
He's
which
in the
mirrors his
Lincoln
main
Lord-
job,
he's
which
in
is
the Lincoln
constantly
Lord movie.
switching illegal accounts.
Whoa.
Wesley reminds him with Rance,
I
Fisher,
wanna mention
McClintock,
something
and
later
Farnham,
on,
they're
okay?
leaving way
You know
too
this
many
is not my
dead
Marvel
bodies
channel,
behind, so they need to
but-
stop killing
oh.
people like it's an accident.
So good.
Then we learn their game.
It's not their experience that matters. They just opened shop and they're completely clean.
They're using Nelson and Murdoch because they're clean. No one can trace it back to Fisk when the boys have such a clean record. Then Karen thinks it's a great idea to go see Miss Fisher, the wife of Daniel Fisher, the guy that died in the first episode. She's currently moving and she's still mourning her husband, which is all very sad and cumbersome. She reveals that she signed the former Union Allied NDA that Karen was offered because she wants to keep her children safe. And wow, it's almost like morals are the common theme of this episode. It is
They are.
everybody choosing. It's like, okay, I understand. I would
He
do the same
reminds me
thing
of
too.
somebody.
And we should mention that Owsley, played by the same guy who played Warden Norton in The Shawshank Redemption, that guy known for tricky
Well,
accounting. That's what did him in on that show. So it's just kind of a perfect casting. Everyone in the show, so well cast,
There you go.
has a great body of work behind them. I love it. But we're back with Ben Urich, who got good news from the hospital, but in walks Karen Page, and she wants to talk about Union Allied. Her moral compass is pointing right, and Ben is absolutely interested. We're back in the courtroom for the verdict, and Matt knows Wesley is there by the sound of his expensive watch, which is insane. That's genuinely very cool. I love the scene. It's my favorite power.
Okay,
He's got
fine.
great hearing. He's just a good listener. Just a good listener. Right?
Oh,
That's all we just
that's
need a good
why.
listener.
That's how he's a boy.
Uh-huh.
He's a great listener.
Then he hears another fast heartbeat, and it's that older woman in the jury, a new mole. She causes a hung jury, and Healy outwardly, sarcastically commends Matt for his beautiful speech earlier now that he's off the hook. And here's where it gets gross. I've seen this episode, and I know you have too, and this is when Daredevil gets dark. This scene is almost too inappropriate for TV. We're gonna be blurring it out here, New Rockstars, because YouTube doesn't like this. As Healy is planning to leave, Daredevil sneaks up behind him, and they start going at it. Dumb Healy picks up a bucket and a lead pipe in the middle of the fight. What'd you think was gonna happen, bro?
The loudest instrument he
I
could have
forgot
ever
about
picked
that.
up. It's like picking up a drum, which is a horrible idea because Daredevil hears it and immediately they get back into the fight and Healy is losing. This is when they finally reveal the name to Daredevil, which is Wilson Fisk. We knew it. Daredevil didn't know his name yet. He stabs Healy in the chest with a broken shard of a mirror he was swung into. This horrible fight is concluded when Healy clocks out by throwing himself eye first on a serrated, jagged metal spike on a fence. Brutal.
I mean,
At least they got the
come on.
retainer.
Could you? No one
The
would ever
retainer.
do that. No one would just. No one. That's how. I mean, that's the best introduction to a villain
Okay, is this
ever.
the end?
3 episodes. We now are getting the feeling of how horrible Wilson Fisk is. That you're so afraid that you gave up his name that you have to get rid of yourself this way. Continue. I love this show.
So then we're introduced to Vanessa, soon to be Fisk's everything. She's an art dealer and is currently drawn to Fisk immediately.
Really? They're
Vanessa
running
tells
out of
Fisk
time.
a children's joke of when you hold up a white piece of paper
I don't know if
and you
the
ask,
30
what is
minutes
this?
is gonna
And then he say,
start, but I
have
hope
it in
it
a
doesn't.
snowstorm. The title
If
of
it's
this
still recording,
episode,
it is
which
past
could
30
summarize
minutes,
how
I'm
Wilson
looking,
Fisk feels
I
like a
can't-
rabbit
no.
in the center
Tried
of
to
this
look, I
Hell's
cannot
Kitchen
find
mess.
it.
This is
Cannot find,
one big-ass rabbit, and he blends
I cannot
in
find
with the
how long
city
this
because
video is streaming for.
everything is as corrupt as he is. So he never stands out. He's a man in the shadows by being ironically framed in the brightest color. It's so bright, it's overwhelming, you can't see anything. It's a world on fire for someone who is blind. They hear so much screaming, so much pain, and they can't single it out. But what's horrifying about it is he believes he is helping the city. So maybe he believes he's the innocent rabbit just being stuck in a snowstorm. That's why he wears the color white. He believes he is morally pure on this crusade when he is anything but. And what does he tell Vanessa this painting makes him feel? Alone. Alone. Alone.
Ew, stop. Ew.
That's what he is. He's so overwhelmed, he's just alone. But it's also a pompous statement. He's alone at the top of this pyramid. He's looking down on the rest of the city. And also could, of course, be a call out to his past with his father, which we'll get into later in our road to Born Again. R-I-K.
This
the end of the episode?
And I'm hanging out with Jessica.
Alright, this is the end. Thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Thanks. Thanks, man. Thanks for watching the video. Peace the heck out. I'm gonna film a couple other reactions so I have some ready, okay? There's actually a whole list of things I have to react to. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I have no idea. It might just cut out. Anyways, peace out. And it ended 3, 2, 1.